Well, earlier today, not only did we have the writ moved for a presidential election on a crazy bank holiday Friday, meaning that I might have to work on Saturday, which is incredible, but the CSO published their Q2 labour force survey, and you might think, that's very nerdy and anarchy, but to make sense of what it means for the layman, because within the CSO's thing, and I remember when this guy's dad used to be, before he was a politician or a Taoiseach, a full-time statistician, and he'd rattle off so many facts and figures. And black cats do have black kittens. Welcome to the programme, John Fitzgerald, Adjunct Professor of Economics at Trinity College. Now, let's talk about this in the context of, yes, it's the labour force, and we're talking about active working age people, I suppose between 20 and 70, and they're coming into the country and they're leaving the country. What's happening?
All right, well, there's been very substantial net inflow of people into Ireland now. The net immigration is predominantly new people coming to Ireland. But what's really interesting is that during the crisis years, more Irish people were emigrating than coming back, and you've seen that stopping. So you're now beginning to see significant returns from Australia. There's net immigration from Australia and the United States. Now, I don't hear a lot of Australian accents in the street, so I think it's the Irish are coming home. There's also, for the first time this year, immigrants, net immigration, or people moving, tend to be between 15 and 45. You're seeing children coming to Ireland, and I'm pretty certain that these are children of Irish people, that in the 1980s, a huge number of people left Ireland and said they were never coming back. They turned out to be homing pigeons, and they came back. And at what stage do you decide to come back? One of the key points is when you have children, and the next point is when they're starting in school. So it looks to me as if you're beginning to see the homing pigeons returning.
Could you put numbers on it? Like, say, in a year, are there 1,000 a week coming home?
No. You're small numbers. The average return from Australia is about 2,000.
No, I meant in total, returning from Abu Dhabi, from teaching or nursing, from the UK, from the States.
You're seeing about 20 or 30,000 people going and 20 or 30,000 people coming back. So it's 500 to 1,000 a week.
I thought there was significantly more people returning than going.
No, it's a total of 100 net immigration of Irish people.
Oh, it's broadly imbalanced. So do you think maybe the youngsters are going and the ones of family age that you described are returning?
Yeah, I don't know about your children, but going back to the peak of the boom in the early years, the last decade, about 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 young Irish people emigrated, even though the economy is booming, because they went off to have a good time, learn a foreign language, learn to how to do things differently. And there's a lot of ESRI research which is very interesting, which shows that people who emigrate and come back earn 10% more because they're more productive. They've learned a foreign language, learned how to do things differently. So even in the boom times, even in the recovery, I would expect to see people going and coming back.
Well, now, I would have thought this, that when I get on the dirt, as I do twice a day, I never cease to be amazed. Now, I say this in a positive sense. Most of the people who are coming at work, rush hour times, in their 20s and 30s, they don't speak English. They're maybe tech people, because I pass all Silicon Docks and so on in the dark line. And I'm saying to myself, what number of these people are not Irish, who are coming because there are work opportunities there? Because we've spoken to a lot of employers say, look, there's huge skills shortages here and we have to recruit graduate support. Now, this is a win-win for the country because someone else fed these and reared them and educated them, and we're getting them straight in. Like, I'm with Merkel on this. So can you quantify that for me?
Yeah, there's 30,000 more foreigners working in Ireland this year than last year, but they're nearly all working. And the vast bulk of them have third level education. And
isn't this great?
It's great, yeah. So
we don't need to spend millions on childcare. We can import them.
Yeah, well,
from a labour force.
Yeah, from a labour force point of view. But it is very, and the research shows that a more multicultural economy does better, you grow more rapidly. And there's a lot of research done for the UK, which of course they all ignored, that the immigrants into the UK pay tax, don't draw welfare. Like here, they pay tax, they don't draw welfare, and they help support the elderly who voted for Brexit. Here, as a pensioner, I am delighted to have these people coming and paying taxes, which is helping to support me in...
Absolutely. And in perpetuity, and gets the retiree to worker ratio out. The other issue that I keep getting banged over the head about is women in the workforce, and particularly mothers in the workforce, and people saying that we need to incentivise women and therefore we need to make childcare cheaper. And News Talk had a very detailed survey, and I really have an earache from Kieran Cuddy going on to me about this. What's happening there? Are women actually saying, on one hand, you know what, childcare is so expensive, I'd be better off full-time in the home, or are more women at work who are mothers?
All right. Even through the boom, through the recession, women with third-level education, with qualifications, who can earn a reasonable amount, very high participation in the labour force, even when they have children. Because
would you care to put a figure on it? 50%, 60%?
Yeah, you'd be looking at 70, 80% of them are in the labour force, because they earn enough to pay for the very extensive childcare. What you see, though, is women with a leaving cert or less, much lower levels of education. But what you've seen in the last year, and it looks as if a significant number of mothers who have leaving cert education are back in the labour force. That the economy is booming. People are short of labour. There are a lot of skilled people out there who happen to be women, and employers need them and want them and are prepared to make concessions and make it attractive. So there has been a change there. Until this year, the really big increase in employment has been for graduates. Actually, in the last year, it's increased in employment for those with leaving certs.
Two quick questions. One, is this M50 inside the M50 phenomenon, or is this growth in employment and so on taking place right across the 26 counties? It's
outside the M50 predominantly.
Is it?
But related to Dublin.
Commuter belt.
Yeah, it's commuter belt. If you look at the Mid-East, like your area in the Southeast, no. Border area, no.
Arklow, Greystones upwards, Mullingar inwards.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah,
Navan inwards.
Now, Galway is different. Galway, you're also seeing employment growth. Now, actually, in the last year, it seems to be more Dublin. Since the recovery started, it was actually reasonably evenly balanced.
Final quick question. Brexit is going to happen whenever it's going to happen. We will be the only English-speaking nation left inside the European Union. Surely this migration inwards will happen on steroids.
It's interesting. There was net emigration to the UK up to 2015, and since 2016, 17, 18, almost 10,000 a year are coming from the UK, whether it's Irish people coming or British people coming or foreigners deciding it's a better bet. So there is a significant impact of Brexit already on migration.
Professor John Fitzgerald, you can't be more succinct, concise, and answering straight questions with straight answers. You should go into politics. Thank you very much. After the break, we're going to hear about